Peace and love, family and friends, naysayers, whomever. My name is Leon Wheeler Jr., and this is Master Making in Motion. And today's brief talk, see through people's masks. That's another title out of Robert Greene's book. I told you all we were going to explore these concepts, go through them, study them, and share them with you all. And this is a way of me giving back and doing what I deem to be one of my number one philosophies: teach what you want to learn. So this is all in junction with that. And with that in mind, I ask you the $1,000,000 question. Are you an actor? Well, without a doubt, I think that you are. I think that we are all actors, playing roles at different times for different reasons, which is a natural occurrence, if you ask me. I think this is something that we all do without even giving any thought to it. Sometimes we play the role as a friend. We play the role as we're employees for companies we work for. You know, aunts, uncles. Various roles at different times for different reasons. So yes, I do believe we are all actors, and we all constantly play roles. Thinking about this concept makes me go back to the time of my incarceration. Uh, at that particular time, I found myself engaged in a whole lot of role playing. And it was definitely not necessarily all by choice, but it became second nature. I've been doing it all my life anyway, and we all have. That's just a part of life. But I want to talk to you. I want to share a story with you of an incident that crossed my mind just now as I was thinking about it. That took place in prison. Starting out my prison bit, I started my prison bit off in MR, which is a prison in Ionia, Michigan. Excuse me. It's probably one of the oldest prisons that, it's Jackson, Ionia, and I think Ionia might have been the oldest. But anyway, those were bar prisons with the bars in it, and it was single man cells. So that's where I started my prison term off at. And from there, that was a level 4 I was at, being housed at. And from there, I was sent, my level dropped, and I was sent to a level 3. The thing about prison is it's almost identical and indicative to, uh, equivalent, I guess, to a plantation. This is more of a modern day plantation where the slaves are housed. But we weren't slaves in that regard, but in regards we were. And one of the things they do with their property, that's what you become when you become a ward of the state, your state property, uh, they move you around whenever they want to. They grant you benefits for, I guess, depending on how much time you're doing, how much time you've done. Like I said, for me, I started in level 4 and was waived to a level 3, and most of my prison term was in level 2. The crazy thing about that is it seemed like the lower the level gets, the more freedom you get. That's the benefit. However, it seemed like that's where the most chaos is at. The freer, uh, uh, I guess, the more liberties you have to have more freedom on your hand. I don't know. We act more crazy. Just like right now, being in society, there's a real big liberty considering coming from prison, and as you can see, as we all see, people out here is out of their mind. So, the more control you have on people, the more they conform. The less they don't. Well, let's get back to the concept. So I wanted to just share that with you. So now I was sent to a level 3. I think I was a level 3, 4. the time too. Uh, I'm going to talk about something that took place at Carson City. I think I was in Carson City, and I don't know what took place. Maybe my bunkie. That's a word that we use, a slang word we use in prison. Bunkie is, I guess, equivalent to cellmate, or you would say roommate, bunkmate, but the terminology we use is bunkie. For whatever reason, I think my bunkie had rolled out. I don't know if he had went to the hole or whatever for something he did, but I had the weekend to myself, and the first of the week, I was given another bunkie. So, and that you figures you're not gonna have too many days by yourself, so that was a luxury. But hey, they double bunked in the level threes down, and then when you the lower the level, you may find yourself in a pole barn with 30, 40 people. But in the level threes and twos, and they started doing it to fours too. They double bunk. But when I initially started off, I was in a cell by myself with bars at MR, what they would call gladiator school, and it was the first. It was a tough prison for the most part, but you had less time on your hand. You was locked up more. So more liberties again, the more problems that you are going to possibly create for yourself and find yourself in. So anyway, I'm at Carson City, and I get a new cellmate, a new bunkie. This guy come in, he had to be probably about 6'3", 6'4", big dark skinned guy, blue black, mean looking cat. Come in, and first thing you do when you get a new bunkie, you size him up. You don't size him up in a way from a negative standpoint. You try to find out who you're dealing with. What you got to deal with. So this is the role playing that takes place. So this is the actor coming out. So I saw this big dude, and I was like, wow, this is the cells aren't really that big. I think they're probably like 7 by 10 feet, 8 by 10, something like that. Not very big. And in MR you have a cell. You're in your room in the bars prison. When you're by yourself, you have a toilet in the room with you, and a sink, and your bunk. You may have a desk, but in a double bunking, you have bunk beds, uh, more likely two desks, and there's no bathroom in there. So you in and out of the room, you can use the bathroom in the in the cube in an open setting, and shower and do everything you had to do. But in your room, it's two beds and a bunk bed, and it's kind of crowded. And I seen this big dude, and I was like, it's a big old dude here. So I tried to figure out what I was dealing with. So I introduced myself to him, and he introduced himself. We get to know each other, and he's a mild mannered guy. He's a pretty cool cat. I can tell that after I get to know him that he was a street cat for the most part, like myself. So, and when you got street cats, we got most street guys that's hustlers, because he was a hustler. I can tell, and we got to know each other, and I was a past hustler in the streets. So we got a chance to size each other up, and I realized that he was pretty astute. Hustlers usually have a higher IQ than, just regular run of the mill prisoners. Some other guys might be thieves or drug addicts or whatever, but the hustlers always saw themselves as I guess, echelon, the higher echelon, more sophisticated players or whatever. So he was able to take care of himself. So he was able to take care of himself financially. So I didn't have to look out for him as far as sharing food and things of that nature with him. He was in a position to take care of himself as myself. So that was a blessing in itself. However, from time to time, you still may need your friend, your bunkie, for something or whatever. But we were both pretty well off, so we was able to look out for our personal hygienes and things of that nature, and go to the store and get the things that we needed. So, in getting to know one another. One time, me and him were talking to some of his friends. As a matter of fact, his name was Ben, Big Ben, and I think Ben was out of Flint. So I'm talking to him and some of his partners, and one of the partners was a Muslim brother of mine. I was studying, rotating with the Muslims, and I think he was a Moor at the time. And so one of the friends was a Muslim brother of mine. So we communicated and all that. And Big Ben, out the blue, said something that caught me off guard. He was telling his friends and my Muslim brother, uh, whom I knew, uh, what a good guy I was and how he liked me. And he was telling me about being an outstanding guy, top of the line, outstanding, a real guy. He was talking about what he admired about me, and it was touching. I appreciate it. So I'm listening to talking. Then he, out the blue, he said, I really like Malik. That's what they call me. He said, but one thing about Malik, I can't even tell if Malik really like me. He. He seemed like such a good guy that he looks out for everybody. He's a really friendly cat, but at the same time, you really can't tell really what he's thinking or how he feel. So I like him. This is being said, I like him a lot. That's my man. But sometimes I question myself whether or not he like me, if he see me how he see me. And again, that's the IQ. So he's sizing me up. He's looking at me and checking me out and viewing my skills of playing my role, and at the same time he's doing the same thing. So here it is. That's what we do. We size each other up, and not from a negative standpoint, but just to know who you're dealing with, and that always stuck with me. Uh, uh, so how he was able to see me and see through my mask, so to speak, possibly. And he was somewhat right. I did dig Big Ben, but I did carry myself in a way that a lot of times when I deal with people, I dealt with them because I was just trying to make my way through what I had to deal with. I had to be here, and I knew I was going to meet a lot of people, and a lot of people you meet, you wasn't going to, people you're not going to deal with in the free world, because a lot of us was hoping to make it home one day. So Big Ben was absolutely correct in his assessment on how I moved. I would play the role as a guy that was more friendly than I actually may have been than I was, and I did that because I was doing it to make sure that I can make my stay as peaceful as possible and make my transition so I can make it home. And again, I think all prisoners was doing that to an extent. I think that's just a part. I think that everybody in Michigan does that. I believe that everybody, every African American, black person, Asiatic, whatever you want to, I think this is just something we were taught early on. From being over here as our parents taught us that. How to deal with everybody. We had to deal with white people in a way that, they didn't have to show us the respect that we had to show them because we purchased out, we bought from them. They didn't, so we learned how to deal with everybody. So I think it was just by nature we became excellent actors. Years later, I wrote the book Code and Ethics for Up and Coming Players. It was much later, and there's some sections in this book that I quoted that fits Robert Greene's concepts, some of his concepts, and I caught us for one players. In the book, I set up of concepts of different degrees of conscious individuals, and we were role players, and I said that the players were conscious or unconscious players playing roles to obtain desired results. And these results uh, could be whatever in the game of life. So this book. You'll find briefly the concept of role playing in this. But again, it tied right in to title that we're talking about today. Now, in Robert Greene's book, he was more in depth about how to perfect those skills of reading individuals. He made mention that out of all of our communicating with one another, that body language probably took up at least, well, he said it took up at least 65% of uh, our reading one another. And it was nonverbal, it was just body language. So your expressions, different things. It's 65%. And probably 5% of that is even conscious, we even conscious of it. So when we reading people, we're probably doing a great disservice of really picking up on all the clues. You know what I'm saying? How someone face expression may different when expressing a story. You know, they may be telling a lie. They may be telling you something that's not true. How they may be trying to be more standoffish when they don't want to deal with you. A lot of times it's not in the words that they speak. It can be actually in, you know, you can, if you was able to read the body language, you'll be able to see what actually is being said to you without words themselves, without, you know, someone uttering a particular word. So Robert Greene points out, you know, some of the skills in that. So if you want to get more in depth on that, I suggest that you pick up his book and go through and read it. And it's definitely worthy. And you can pick up my book, my small book here, and listen and just, you know, get a glimpse of it. And I suggest that you do that. So I didn't want to stay here long. I just wanted to come through today and talk about this particular topic and find out, you know, how you felt about it. And if this spoke to you, I ask that you drop a comment and tell me how you see through people's masks. You know, let me know. You know, and if you're gonna, you know, make this journey with me, if you're on this walk with me, I ask that you hit the like button and subscribe. You know, and let's do this together. And if you're rocking with me, just keep rocking with me. Thank you. B.